Hello, and welcome to Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter, a podcast where Dr. O from All Creatures Every Spine interviews doctors and animal owners that utilize animal chiropractic to get their unique perspectives. Yes, it's really a thing. Dr. O utilizes his 30 years of experience as both an animal chiropractor and veterinarian, and to dig deep into the discussion of complex issues affecting the lives of your animal friends and companions. Join us for this educational episode. Thanks for joining us for this portion of the episode as Dr. O begins to answer the question, what is animal chiropractic? He will look at how the chiropractic adjustment is a valuable and viable treatment for what ails your animals.
Bill Ormston joining us here. I should say Dr. Bill Ormston. Yeah, that's what he is. Better known as Dr. O. It just flows better, doesn't it? The owner of All Creatures Every Spine, an animal chiropractic education source.
Chiropractic adjustment is first and foremost. Some states and some of the people that we talk to are like, well, I'm going to go to my veterinarian first and make sure that it's not XYZ. Well, I can guarantee that every certified animal chiropractor in the country, okay, that's taken the certification exams, knows what is not chiropractic.
Yeah.
But every veterinarian in the world does not know what is chiropractic.
Tell us.
And so that's why you should go to a chiropractor first. You go to the chiropractor for your neck and your arm, because you didn't know your neck was involved.
Yeah.
But when you go to the chiropractor, he's going to look at it. He's going to say, oh, well, it's your neck. Let's adjust your neck. And we'll go ahead and see what happens. And then your symptoms will go away. And the carpal tunnel, the number one problem with carpal tunnel is actually a nerve impingement at the lower neck. And so you don't have carpal tunnel,
yes.
So your nerves are still going. But when we look here and look here, it's getting better, but is it still, it's that way doesn't go quite as good.
You're the right. I can almost turn my head through. You're like 180. Yeah, that side not as much. The left, okay.
Yep. And so, that means we have those bones in our neck moving quite right that protect the spinal cord. So they're not moving all the way that they should. So that means there's an impingement there. We have this thing called sharp. Anytime we have things, it's called swelling, heat, loss of function, or ardor, which is the Latin word for it, redness and pain. When we have one, we have all. They all come together. So you have sharp, swelling, heat, loss of function, redness and pain. Now, you don't know that you have swelling in your neck. You don't know that you have a little heat there, okay? But guess what? We just figured out. You have a loss of what? Loss of function. So that means the other four are there too.
Interesting. All right.
And so that's what.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why we what we find with animals is and sometimes they'll come in. I had one dog come in that was dragging the back leg. They didn't know. Nobody knew what happened. It was fine, and 30 minutes later, it was dragging its back leg. They'd spent a lot of money. Actually, they'd been to 7 people before they came to see me. And they had x-rays of the back end of this dog, all kinds of stuff. And I touched the dog's neck and it screamed. And the owner was a little upset with me. She's like, I've been to 7 people and nobody made my dog scream. I said, yeah. How's that working for you?
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at me and said, what do you mean? I said, well, did any of them figure out what was wrong with your pet? No, they didn't. I said, great. So you touch right here, dog screams. Touch over here, dog doesn't scream. Here, you do it. And she put her finger there and it screamed. Anyway, we fixed the dog.
Oh my gosh.
And 8 years later, she was doing great. So, yeah. So,
wow.
but that's the kind of things that we do on a daily basis. Because chiropractors look at the body from a different way.
Make sure to visit our website, allcreatureseveryspine.com, where you can subscribe to the show and learn more about getting your animals adjusted. If you are in the Meridian, Texas area, drop in on a Tuesday afternoon to get your animals adjusted. If that isn't possible, schedule a consultation on your animal's health with Dr. O. You can also purchase a copy of Dr. O's book. Yes, it's really a thing.
Standard Process is a third-generation family-owned company in rural Wisconsin. You could say we just make nutritional supplements, but we know we're changing lives. We grow ingredients on our own certified organic farm without pesticides or herbicides because we think they should be as close to nature as possible. Quality is our priority. That's why we do everything right here, from hand-picking the seeds to delivery, so you know exactly what goes into every bottle.
Hello everyone, and welcome to barfworld.com. If you're seeing this video, it typically means you're interested in trying our 90-day challenge. If your pet is suffering from allergies, kidney issues, obesity, diabetes, or even cancer, our food can help with that. So if you're ready to see your pet's health dramatically improve in just 90 days, call us and schedule your consultation today. Hope to talk to you guys soon.
Helping others experience an abundant life with the gift, art, and blessing that is animal chiropractic is our sole mission at All Creatures Every Spine. It's what we do. It's what we love. It truly is what keeps us motivated to help people just like you. I truly love the art of chiropractic. It drives me to provide the highest level of chiropractic possible. And as fellow chiropractic business owners, it's that love that drives us to become better. However, the reality is that sometimes running a successful business can be challenging. Sometimes there can be obstacles to overcome. We all know the old saying, if it were easy, everyone would do it. Well, one thing that is really easy is marketing our clinic with a professional animal chiropractic website by the Chiro Website Pro, Tony Seymour. He's a professional web designer, and his team at Chiro Website Pro take good care of us. They simply make marketing our practice 100% hassle-free. If you're looking for the #1 hands-free way to market your practice, give the Chiro Website Pro a call at 423-779-4630 or simply visit www.chirowebsitepro.com and make sure you ask them about the special ACES discount and let them know Dr. Amy and Dr. O sent you. You'll be glad.
Join us as Dr. O interviews a certified chiropractor, veterinarian, or an animal owner. These enthusiastic people explain how they utilize animal chiropractic to alter the lives of the animals in their communities.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter, where we talk about animal chiropractic, our patients and doctors who are the animal chiropractors. Today's guest is Dr. Angelo. Tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Well, I've been in practice since August of 2000. I practiced up in Vermont for 14 years. Moved to Texas in 2014. Took a year off of practice. Did dog training full time for a year. It was a little side gig I had for years, and then decided to go back into practice. Went to ACES, your program, in 2016. Got ABCA certified that same year, and my practice is over in Round Rock, here in Texas. I live in San Marcos, about an hour south, and just chugging away ever since. So it's going really well. I have the my animal chiropractic is integrated in my office. I have the come get adjusted with your dog practice. In a city like Austin is very popular. So life is good, business is good.
Well, good. Life is good, business is good. That's what we like to hear. Animal chiropractic is growing. The biggest problem is that people don't know about it.
That is, and hopefully that consciousness continues to get raised. So that's the ongoing challenge of the chiropractic profession in general, is continuing to advance awareness.
Yes, there are 250 chiropractic podcasts out there now, and we are Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter is number 15 to 17, depending on the week, as far as most listened to. So that's exciting. Anyway, we told the team good job, but we got to get in the top 10, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's the goal, right?
Yeah. So, so we always start with, so what's Animal Chiropractic done for you in your life? It's enriched my life. It is really, from a business standpoint, it is really the cornerstone of from a clinical standpoint of what my business is based on. It's also, right now in terms of my patient volume, it's probably about 35 to 40% of my patient volume. It's made my practice life. This is the kind of practice I always wanted to do. So it's been very fulfilling in that respect. It's also given me a bit of a different mission outside of the clinic as well, as you're aware of, because in Texas, we require a veterinary referral if you're a DC to see a chiropractor. And there's a number of issues with that regulation. So I'm part of a group that is working on an ongoing basis to try to get that changed. So it's an uphill climb, but somebody's got to try. So so that's that. So it's from a practice standpoint, incredibly fulfilling. Honestly, it's more than what I bargained for. I mean, I've been involved in the dog industry for a while, and I understood, that the emotional heartstrings that get pulled in any type of practice, whether you're doing training or chiropractic. When you're involved in animals, your heartstrings get tugged. But as a chiropractor, I didn't think I'd realize the extent to which I'd be faced with life and death situations, where someone's literally bringing an animal to you, and this is what they're perceiving to be their last shot before they decide to put the animal down. So that has emotions involved with it. Also, because my focus is a wellness practice, there's a number of situations where you start working with a dog, you adjust them for their whole life, or for, they might come to you in their later years, maybe they're 7 or 8 years old, you adjust them for a few years, and then their time comes and they pass. Just a few months ago, is it a few months ago at this point? Probably 3 months ago, I had one dog who'd been under care with me for about 5 years. And I saw her slowly declining, did my best to help her quality of life all the way through. But they told me the afternoon they were going to be putting her down. And I went over to their place and gave the dog a gentle adjustment and some happy treats, just saluting her on her way. And the owner and I cried and hugged together, and it was very, very emotional. So it's I think there's this perception amongst many of our chiropractic colleagues that, oh, you adjust animals, that's so cute. But I don't think they realize just the heart-wrenching situations that you find yourself in. And I think that's the reason why so many of us are so passionate about it, because you really need to be committed to do this kind of thing on an ongoing basis. I agree. I was talking with one of my agility clients a couple episodes ago, and I didn't think she could throw me any curveballs. But about halfway through the interview, she said, I have a bone to pick with you, Dr. O. And I was like, uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, yes. Before I met you, I used to have 3 or 4 dogs. I had my dog in training, my 1 or 2 dogs competing, and my retired dog.
Mm-hmm.
She says, since I've met you and my dogs are getting chiropractic care and a better diet and, chiropractic lifestyle, I now have 8 dogs, and it's your fault.
Yeah. It just happens. Yeah, it just happens. Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean it's my fault? She said, well, the retired dogs don't die.
Yeah, they just keep going. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, so the longevity is, and it's quality of life longevity. It's not,
Sure.
That we're just dragging them on out there.
That's right.
And in fact, she said one of her dogs, she tried to retire it 3 times and he just wouldn't stay retired.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's a performance dog for you. For sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we just go outside. You adjust him. I think we're done. He's not, having trouble getting around. You adjust him. We go outside and he just starts running the agility obstacles by himself.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. And it absolutely happens. So, and that can happen in most sports. I mean, I think you can have older dogs that, I work with a lot of Frisbee competitors because that was what my dog sport background was in. And you repeatedly hear stories about Frisbee dogs that should be retired and, they're trying to get retired and they're, find a loose Frisbee in the yard and they run up and put it right down at their owner's feet waiting to get a little training happening. So, yeah, I mean, it's a old adage, but the old idea of years to life and life to years definitely plays out. The animals show you. It happens right in front. There's no auto suggestion about what might happen with an adjustment with an animal. You watch them move before, you watch them move after, and the difference is clear. So there's no way you can try to suggest, oh, look for this, hey dog, do this afterwards. So it's just, either they're moving better or they're not. And if they're not, you double check your work, maybe modify it a little bit and then check it again and move forward. And sometimes you need to give body a chance to heal a little more because healing takes time. But nonetheless, it's quality of life is what it's all about here.
Yes. And so what do you wish like all the dog owners in your area knew about animal chiropractic? Not just the competitive ones, but everybody.
Yeah, that's a layered question, Bill. Because as a trainer before I went into doing animal chiropractic, you see what kind of range of life possibilities there are for dogs. Whether they're living in a shelter or whether they're living in a home. I mean, dogs that are living in a home with somebody are absolutely a leg up. They're on the lucky. Most of them are on the lucky end of the species. I guess I would say, if there's so much to that question. I'm not quite sure how to answer that. I think if I were to say, if they knew one thing, it would be that mobility is probably the biggest key to an animal's quality of life, its ability to move. Certainly that's the case for humans as well, but for animals, dogs specifically, their ability to move is central to their quality of life. And chiropractic is a very straightforward, very safe, very effective intervention that they can do throughout the dog's life. They don't have to wait until the dog is a senior dog. It can happen at any point in the dog's life. In fact, usually the earlier, the better. Safe, effective intervention that can support their balance of motion and their overall ability to move throughout their lifetime. So I think that's probably the most significant thing. And it's a lot cheaper to do things like this than it is to wait until a dog becomes incapacitated and then have to go through a whole bunch of interventions, including potential surgeries and or potential medications. There is certainly a place for those. I'm not here to disparage anything, but the whole idea of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There are things you do to help yourself stay healthy. There's things we all do to help ourselves stay healthy. We try to eat right. We try to exercise. We brush our teeth every day. So these are wellness behaviors. So there's wellness behaviors in animals too, including exercise, including good diet, including regular body work so that their mobility can be supported. And it's effective and it's cost effective. So.
Well, yeah, because, the nervous system controls everything. And no matter what the diagnosis is, whether it's a healthy dog or a dog in stage 4 cancer, right, that dog is going to have a greater ability to experience life at the fullest with an intact nervous system that's working at optimal levels.
That's right. And your adjustment moves it towards that process. You move it towards overall better function. So I was going to say something and my brain went blank. Welcome to 56 years old. So it'll come back, I'm sure. Hopefully before we're done. Anyway.
Well, and so like
okay, I got it.
Right,
I got it. So here's an interesting point, and I don't want to divert too far into the politics of stuff.
We'll get that later.
Yeah. Well, what I will say is that you did mention that, regardless of the diagnosis. So I think this is an interesting point to pass along to any of our veterinary colleagues who are listening here, because when I first started in practice in 2000, for the first 8 to 10 years of practice, I heard consistently, and this is at a time where I was just doing humans, I heard consistently from many medical counterparts, oh, what you do is dangerous. You need to get a medical diagnosis first. And I knew that was incorrect. There's over 75,000 chiropractors in this country right now. 99% of adjustments happen without a so-called medical diagnosis. If that were true, there'd be lineups at every emergency room in the country. So what we do is safe. The concept that chiropractic is dangerous without some kind of a diagnosis is incorrect. It can happen as a wellness intervention, and it's absolutely safe enough to be able to receive the benefits from it without needing to have something being wrong, a specific medical condition of some kind. So,
well, I just recently was reading a book called The Real Truth About Chiropractic by Dr. Jeff Williams. And it is about some of the research that's out there. And he has read numerous papers. And basically, in the beginning of the book, it says, what I did was I went out and read through all these research studies. And here's a short synopsis of everyone, not an abstract, but a short synopsis of why they did the study, what they found out in the study, and what you need to know about the study. And so it's a lot easier than reading the medical research.
Yeah.
And he said that the number one cause of death at chiropractic is the dissecting aneurysm in the neck. All right. That's the number one cause. All right. Your chances of that happening to you, if you have a dissecting aneurysm in your neck and you go to the chiropractor, the chances of you dying from that adjustment are 1 in a million. So if 1 million people have a dissecting aneurysm in their neck and they go to the chiropractor, their chances of dying are 1 in a million. If those same million people went to the medical doctor for pain in their neck and they had a dissecting aneurysm, you know what their chances of death would be?
1 in a million.
1 in a million. It's
right.
Exactly the same. So it doesn't matter whether that was or not.
Yeah.
I screwed up one time back before I was teaching animal chiropractic, but I didn't have as much philosophy as I do now, as I did when you met me. It was early in my career, and I was just an adjustment was a tool in my toolbox, like it is for a lot of animal chiropractors that don't have the philosophy that you and I do. And unfortunately, that's one of the problems when we get into the legalities of stuff. But I woke up one morning. I'm 47 years old. I weigh 300 pounds. I'm going through a stressful divorce, and I have 3 teenagers living at home with me. And I have a shooting pain down my left arm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the listeners know what my diagnosis is.
That's right.
I'm having a heart attack.
Right.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I'm a good dad, so I got the kids to school. I'm a good, businessman, so I called a couple clients and told them, hey, I'll be a little late today. My cardiologist happens to have a dachshund that gets paralyzed every once in a while. And he just calls up and says, hey, Oscar's got a problem. Can I stop out tonight? And I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I'm not even going to get an appointment with my cardiologist. I'm just driving into his office and going to walk in and get treated, right? On the way, I had to go by the chiropractor. And I'm thinking as I go by, I think, man, my back hurts. I really don't want to lay in a hospital bed for 2 or 3 days like this. I'm going to go get an adjustment. So I walk in, he says, oh man, perfect timing. I had a cancellation, got a slight opening here. How's it going? Oh, same old, same old. All right, lay down. So he adjusts my back. He says, roll over. He adjusts my first rib. Right before he adjusts it, he said, this might hurt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I said, oh yeah, cried a little bit like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
He said, are you all right? I said, yeah. He said, all right, get up. You're done. I got up and I started looking at my left arm. I'm going, wow. Huh. He said, are you all right? I said, well, yeah. I told him what was going on. He said, sit down. Got a little pale.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sit down. He took my blood pressure. It was equal in both arms, elevated, but equal.
Mm-hmm.
He said, now sit there for 20 minutes. I said, but you told me no, just sit there for 20 minutes. You were going to the cardiologist. Now you decided to go to work. Just give me 20 minutes.
Yep.
So fine. I sat there for 20 minutes. He kept checking in on me. Came back. My rib was still, in place when he rechecked me. My blood pressure was down about 10 points. Still high. Arm didn't hurt. He said, okay. He said, don't ever do that to me again. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, I started looking up my odds of what, and I'm here today because he adjusted me.
Mm-hmm.
And if he hadn't adjusted me, I'm pretty certain I wouldn't be here today.
Right.
Because my chances of dying from a chiropractic adjustment are 1 in 4 million.
Mm-hmm.
My chances of dying from a stress test are 1 in 2,500.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
My chances of dying from an echocardiogram are 1 in 1,000.
I mean, you can compare. It's. I don't know. The discussion about the safety of the adjustment is pretty much settled at this point. But the dogma pretty much continues in various forms to various degrees. I mean, in the end, can you say there's zero risk? I don't think you can say there's zero risk. There's a risk associated with everything, and you do your best when you're going through school to be able to kind of screen these situations out and try to make sure that you're looking after people in a responsible way. But having said all that, I'd be happy to compare body counts with any general practitioner any day. So it's there's a reason why our malpractice insurance is so cheap.
Yep, that's what I was going to say right there.
Yeah.
Look at the malpractice insurance.
Yeah.
And how long you need to keep. I have a high school buddy that's thinking about retiring soon. And he was telling me that he's got to keep, the reason he's going to retire soon is that he has to keep malpractice insurance. He's a pediatrician.
Right.
OBGYN pediatrician. And he has to keep malpractice insurance until the patient that he sees today turns 21. So if he delivers a baby today,
he's got to keep that for another, potentially beyond his lifespan. Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's like, we're in our early 60s and, he's still out there working. And he says, if I retire, I got to keep my malpractice for another 21 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And chiropractors, pretty much, when you retire, you're pretty much done.
Well, that's I took a year, as I said, I took a year off of practice, and during that time, it was just, I shut the whole thing down and just did something different for a while. So, so yeah, there is, I mean, the risk is the safety of it is well established at this point.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is, when I started doing animal chiropractic, around the time when I started doing animal chiropractic, my practice was just starting to get busier. I had been open for maybe a year in Texas before getting AVCA certified. But things were starting to go, and I was getting calls from medical doctors wanting to set up referral relationships with me on the human side. But on the veterinary side of things, I was having veterinarians telling me that what I was doing was dangerous. So I'm sitting here going, I've heard this song before. What's going on with this group is this, this dogma seems to be dying on this side. Why is it still alive and well over here? So yeah, that's been an ongoing disappointment, which isn't, it's not alive and well across the board, but in the places where it is alive and well, they're hanging on to it. They're white knuckling that right now. So.
And you say that, and I know you get frustrated with Texas, the law in Texas. In the United States right now, there's 643 AVCA certified chiropractors. And Texas has 111 of them.
Yeah.
It's about half veterinarians and half chiropractors. And so, and they all are certified and they all maintain their certification. So that would tell me that, like their practice is doing well. It could be better. It could be easier. I'm not saying that it wouldn't, but California has 40 certified animal chiropractors.
Yeah.
And New York, all similar size states, New York has 11.
Yeah.
So, I'm amazed that, and chiropractic, unlike veterinary medicine, the best thing that can happen for a chiropractor and certified animal chiropractor is to have another one move to your town.
That's right. Elevates the consciousness.
Yes.
I mean, I will say that the reason, here's the deal. I've been in practice for, as I said, 23 years at this point. I have started in new locations, 4 times at this point. So, I know how to build a practice and get it going and have it be profitable. So the stress of getting new patients or anything like that is not really a big concern. The business is out there, even if you have to navigate, some law that seems to, on the surface, be a pain in the ass. But I will say that the ones that I think suffer from this, and the reason why I got motivated to do something about this, is the animals and the owners themselves. They're the ones who suffer from this. They're the ones that need to go around and go veterinarian shopping, because if they have a veterinarian who doesn't want to make a referral, but they've got an animal that's suffering, and then you're prolonging the suffering of the animal. Yes, there are other harms that the law does, but for me, that's the crux of it, and that's the reason why I'm doing it, is because it doesn't make any sense to me. And I spent a few years in the dog training industry. As I said, I did it full time here in Texas when I first moved here for a year, and anyone who has $150 can walk into PetSmart and buy a shock collar or a prong collar, and can, without any training in that at all, and I'm not saying I use these training methods because I don't, but anybody could go in and purchase one of these devices, use it in a heavy-handed way, and cause serious harm to their animal. They don't need a referral to do that. All they need is $150. Yet someone can bring a newborn baby to me for me to adjust. But if they want to bring their dog to me, or if someone has a ranch or some land and they have a horse, they want their horse adjusted, they need a veterinary referral for that from someone who's gone through training to know how to do that, when to do it and when not to do it. There's a problem with that. That's a problem with that. That's significant overreach. and we've learned that there is a bit of a network of influence that needs to be navigated in order to get that changed. So, but that's ultimately why I got involved in doing this, is because it's the animal owners that are suffering the most from an expense standpoint and from an emotional standpoint, and the animals are suffering needlessly in an extended way. If you've got a veterinarian who decides that no, they think that the dog has they might use a general diagnosis of IVDD, intervertebral disc disease, which isn't really a significant or a concise diagnosis unless you take an image, unless you take an X-ray and an MRI, and you're able to significantly pinpoint the area that you're talking about. It requires imaging to be able to make a definitive diagnosis like that. And they think that you're just going to push into a herniated disc, which you and I know is not what we do. But this is the perception that's there, and that's what they hold on to. Now, whether their reasons are fear and ignorance, or whether their reasons are they've accepted the anti-holistic practice dogma that they may have received in veterinary school, or whether it's fear of liability from making a referral as such. In the end, it's the animals and the owners that are suffering from this. I have to carry malpractice insurance that covers animals. So I should be the one that should be liable if anything goes wrong in the adjustment. It doesn't need to be the veterinarian, and it should be the owner's choice as to whether or not they want their animal to get adjusted. That's cut and dry, straight ahead. And do I need a veterinary degree to be able to apply chiropractic appropriately and safely? No.
You need a chiropractic degree.
I need my chiropractic degree gave me the tools to be able to, apply chiropractic safely and effectively on the human side, but it also taught me the philosophical foundations of what we do and how and when and why we do an adjustment in the first place. And then the animal chiropractic training that I received at ACES gave me the mechanical tools and the physiological and anatomical understanding to be able to apply those philosophical principles safely in animals. So that's what you need. A veterinarian can certainly acquire that through taking a course as well. Now, not all of them get that, though. Some of them think that they should be the only ones making the decision because they think that they're treating a condition with an adjustment, which is not what they're doing. That's not what an adjustment is intended to do. And that goes back to the philosophy of where animal chiropractors got their training, just like what chiropractic school did you go to? Because there's a difference in philosophy about with chiropractors. I'll tell you, as a veterinarian, my biggest fear is paperwork.
If you are or know a veterinarian or chiropractor, or a student of either of these professions, visit our website, Animal Chiropractic Education Source, to see how to become certified in animal chiropractic. Start improving the lives of the animals around you. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the ACES channels so that you never miss an exciting episode.